Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com. Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War Hub. Take command of elves, dwarves and orcs in this game of masked fantasy combat on beastsofwar.com.
Good morning and welcome to The Weekender. We have a jam-packed show for you. We're going to be talking about what's happening over the Christmas period. We have tons planned. We've got stuff to look forward to in the new year that you definitely want to hear about. We're going to be talking Dropfleet. We're going to be talking all about the latest news and Doctor Who. And then, of course, just tons of stuff. Before we get into any of that, though, I just want to pay a tribute to a community member that we lost a couple of weeks ago. Nomad Nation. This is Jack Ramstad. We lost Jack a couple of months ago after a long illness that he was doing well on. Jack was the creator with his mother of Lefty and Sons, the creators of these wonderful hats. You've probably seen us showing these off time and time again. I just wanted to pay tribute to him because Jack was he's a fighter, he's a creative soul, but more importantly than that, Jack, if you knew about his life, was someone who deeply cared about other people, and we've been a bit caught up about it in here for a little while now, but we did want to pay tribute to the fella because. He is one in a million. He truly is. And I just wanted to pass on a message that Jack's friends have been kind of living by. And that's this weekend, if you can, go and do something nice for somebody else. Because that's the kind of fella he is. And that I think if we all were able to do just a little bit of that, this world would be amazing. So, Jack, till we meet again, mate. Right. Now, no Weekender next week.
Yep.
However, because it's Christmas Eve, and how many of you realistically want to watch the three of us on Christmas Eve?
And suddenly the comments filled with people going, me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Actually, better than that, we are going to do an XLBS show on Christmas morning because we thought that you'd want to watch us on Christmas morning instead. It makes no sense to me either because, we're all busy Christmas Day tearing open presents. But if you wanted a little bit of company at god early o'clock on Christmas morning, we are going to be there. Most likely once again in our jammies because we don't make much effort on Christmas Day, I've got to say. But
well, actually, this will be Boxing Day. Or no, it is Christmas Day.
No, it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Sorry.
It is proper Christmas morning. We're going to get in, get the show done, and then go and get our dinner. Our proper Christmas dinner.
That's probably when people will watch us, because they'll have had their Christmas Day dinner.
I do not recommend watching me and Justin while you're eating.
After they've had their dinner. They're nice and full of turkey,
I
little
don't
bit
recommend
sleepy,
that either.
iPad sitting in front of you. Yeah.
I couldn't stay awake during us. I get bored sitting here. To talk about the Christmas period, though, we have decided to entertain you as much as we can over the 2 weeks. So we have a 2-week period where the team is going to try and take a rest. Okay? One of us per sod is going to get slightly less rest than the rest of us. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yep.
Just a bit.
There'll still be news and
just a
stuff.
Bit.
So
we will be doing our best to make sure everything stays up, nothing falls over. But we are going to try and take a rest because 2017 is going to be absolutely nuts for all of us. For us and you guys, we're going to have the best 2017 ever. I am so excited about 2017. Do you want to know why?
Because it's not 2016?
It's orange.
What?
It's orange. I have this weird thing, right? That whenever I see numbers or hear numbers, I get flashes of color in my head.
Okay.
Right? I've probably talked about this before, but so the number 2017 flashes a kind of like a and a 1970s browny orange in my mind, and I love those colors. 2016 is actually quite a cold blue, right?
I'm
So
actually
it's,
just waiting to hear Warren start talking about chakras and spiritual energy.
No,
here.
I don't know what it is.
Right.
It's probably just crossed wires in my brain.
Okay.
But if you hit me with numbers, certain numbers give kind of shades of blue and they feel a bit cold to me. Other numbers feel warm, and 2017 is proper warm.
All right.
So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a year of big years. Okay. But back to Christmas.
Yes.
Okay. We have some really cool stuff planned. So over the 2 weeks of Christmas, so starting from Christmas Eve, we're going to be starting to do special content.
Yeah.
Week 1, our big feature is going to be a conversion of, what do we call it, Axiom Prime?
It's the Convergence of Cirrus Prime Axiom from
Prime
Privateer
Axiom.
Press's War Machine.
Yes, so it's a big model as standard, but Mene's Mashups is coming on that week, where he's going to convert it into something just out of this world. It is.
Not to mention
it is
you get
awesome.
some great tips for converting plastic.
Yes.
Because it is one of Privateer Press's hard plastic kits.
Yeah, so you be sure to check that out. That's in week 1. Week 2, Rama is then going to kick open the airbrush and paint the thing. So we've got week 1 where it's being built and converted.
Yep.
Week 2 where it's going to be or it's going to be painted, and then at the end of week 2, all being well, Jono will have a plug.
Yes.
Where he's going to then give his technique on basing the thing.
Yeah, now I will make one caveat to this, which is we're not sure how many parts these are going to break down into just yet.
Yeah.
So if there is a day where you don't see it, it's just the way it's breaking down. So we may go Monday, Wednesday, Friday if we're breaking it into 3 or something like that.
So it'll be
Don't
3
panic.
parts each. I know the build
5.
is... No, I know the painting tutorial's 3 parts.
Yeah, and I'd
So
say
in
the
the-
build will probably be the same.
Yeah,
so Monday,
so-
Wednesday, Friday is when you're going to want to tune in for it.
Now, on the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking some of our favorite moments over the year and rerunning them and giving you little video messages and stuff about that. So watch out for our favorite moments being rerun. On top of that, for free subscribers to Beasts of War.
Yes.
Okay, so if you come to beastsofwar.com and open a free account, we're going to be unlocking tons of Backstage stuff just for that period. Okay.
Right, so we're doing like a holiday peek into the vaults of Beasts of War.
And it's a big one, because on Christmas Eve, we're unlocking the entirety of Warhammer 40k Charted.
Wow.
So the whole 40k Charted series is going to be unlocked for free subscribers. So this is a taster for you guys with free accounts. So if you don't have a free account, come across and make one. Or if you have a free account, you're fine. Backstagers would have had access to this anyway. Also during that period, we're going to be pulling out some of our favorites of Raman's painting tips.
Yep.
The wood effect one.
Oh yes, that was beautiful.
So watch for it.
Although, can we do the galaxy one as well? Because it was lovely.
Yeah, we'll do the Galaxy one as
Nice.
well. So the wood and the Galaxy is going to come out. And we're going to be unlocking Raman's entire Age of Sigmar armor series.
Nice.
As well for you to go in and lock. So that and a whole bunch more. So stay tuned over the course of the 2 weeks as we unlock stuff, rerun stuff, and generally just have a bit of crack over the course of the 2 weeks. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. Should be cool.
Right. Next year, I want to mention some stuff that's coming up. We have 2 themed weeks coming very, very soon. The astounding Relic Nights.
Beautiful minis, fantastic game system, really clean and clear. Spent a week with John Caddis playing through the game, was fantastic.
Yeah, this game system's very different. It's based on cards.
No
It's
dice rolling.
Yeah, there's no dice rolling in this. It is really, really epic, and it's really, really cinematic.
It's anime flavored though, because you have the anime style fights where you can jump in, hit somebody, and run away.
But there's this great kind of card control system of how the cards all kind of shuffle down and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really worth watching. Later on in January, February, we have the Wrath of Kings themed week.
That was Brian and Dave from Cool Mini or Not. Another fantastic game. More fantasy this time. So if you want to fight with, big werewolves, some ninjas, things like that.
Fishmen!
Yeah. Warren can have a fishman army. He is
There are
overjoyed.
properly beautiful fish and shark men in this game. You have got to
crabs,
see it.
Crabs everywhere.
So stay tuned for that. Very, very soon, we're going to be announcing the tickets to Backstagers First for Flames of War 4th edition bootcamp that is going to run just around or before the game launch.
Nice.
So if you want to be pretty much one of the first to play that game, that is a bootcamp you won't want to miss.
Similar to what we did with Team Yankee then, yeah?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So if you want to get stuck into Flames of War 4th edition, come over and play it. We've got two. We're all being well. We've got two tournament season guys who are going to be taking us through it. They've been beta testing the rules for a long time.
Nice.
They're going to be coming over to take us through it and keep us all right.
Nice.
And on top of that, I'm hoping, beyond hope, we should have this. This should be set in stone. Dr. Dave is going to join us for the weekend.
Okay, for anyone that has wanted to see Dr. Dave in real life having a couple, if you'll remember the World Championships you and him went to, where you had the Norwegians turning up with the schnapps.
Yes, well,
that
we have
was funny.
Yeah, if you want to come to that boot camp and you have some extraordinary weird ass drink you'd like to
bring it,
Dr. Dave, bring it, because he is up for anything. The Smithix reserves in Northern Ireland are likely to crash at the point that Dr. Dave arrives here.
I don't know, that 21-year-old malt that we've been hiding away.
If he can, the way this has been left is if he can get the time off, which I'm dearly hoping he can. Dr. Dave will be here. And we're going to have the best Flames of War for the Win live experience. It's going to be great. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Other than that, remember, in January, we're going to be kicking off the nominations for the industry's biggest awards in the world.
The Beasties!
This is the Beasts of War, the 3rd annual awards. And the reason it's the biggest is because it's you guys that vote for us. It's nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with anybody else that thinks they know better than you. It's all down to you guys. Yes. So we'll be opening the nominations. So in January, you'll be nominating who you believe should go forward for an award. Mm-hmm. We're going to have more categories this year.
Ooh, really?
In February, at a point in February, we will then kick off the voting for the finals.
Yep.
And then at a point in March, we have finals night.
Nice.
Where we're going to be doing the whole live blog, maybe a bit of a live stream of the actual finals themselves. And yes, we've got a lot to look forward to. This year's awards, every year the awards have been getting bigger and bigger. This year's awards, I am so excited to, because like last year was just mind-blowing for the amount of stuff that came out.
Well, so, Ben, Blood Rage? An exploding
hopefully Blood Rage kicks ass this year. That would be great. Again.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if it qualifies for anything. More information on that will come out in January. So stay tuned for that. We will give you plenty of notice, and we'll be putting it out and trying to shout about it anywhere. And if you can help us spread the word, it's always a good thing. Right. This weekend past, we didn't have a weekender.
No.
Instead, we had the biggest boot camp we've ever had.
Yes.
I have been astounded by the growth in these boot camps. We had Dropfleet Commander.
Yes.
Which just completely blew us away. We have the live blogs up.
Yeah. I have them right here.
So it went off on it started on Friday. And some of the highlights, Justin.
So Fridays are generally build days. So everybody came in, they got their forces, and got stuck into getting it all put together. They also got a really cool space station pack, and this is where everybody's starting to get to know each other for the weekend. So that first moment of, hi, this is me, this is who I am on the website, and people going, oh right, that's you. You've been commenting on my stuff. Yeah. And then, as we can see, people had the choice of PHR, some UCM, some Scourge, some Sheltari. I think one of the best bits of this was I actually got a little time to get my own stuff built. The guys at Hawk actually brought a pop-up store, and I think this is something we really need to try and get for most boot camps in the future, because it's always that nice to have the people there to actually do your next expansion once you've had your first few games. Having someone from the company to say, right, well, where should I go next? It's a really
was interesting, because a lot of people, there was, I've got to say, I even had it myself, uncontrollable shiny syndrome over the entire weekend. It was, it was hard.
There were moments of me looking at the shop going, I don't need to eat this month, right?
Well, there was a handful of battleships and stuff available, and it was very good. It is an interesting sideshow to the whole boot camp, I've got to say.
We then finally unveiled
the station.
Yep. as
now,
well as the fleets.
well, we're going to talk a little bit about that station shortly.
Yep.
But there was the station in all of its glory.
Yeah,
along
some
with
of the other ones we had along with it.
Yeah.
Because we did build a full terrain set for it. We then had the guys from Foreground. This is Adam and his blue fleet of Sheltari, which are actually really poppy like that. They're really cool looking.
Yeah.
Scrolling further down, we obviously have Gamer Grub.
Food.
Gamer Grub.
Food. Now, a number of people did wonder if we were all going to get scurvy. But I will say, there was a big rack of fruit. We do fruit.
There was, yeah.
Yeah, community manager Nance Lance has twisted her arms for the last 2 boot camps. We have had fruit. We've had a big fruit stall that people have been able to get stuck into. So there was plenty of vitamin C available. Nobody caught scurvy while they were with us. So.
Yeah, and also on day 1, I caved and I got myself a PHR fleet. Yay!
Yep.
Which I had a lot of fun putting together along with everybody else at the event that day.
Yeah. Now, if you had to pick your highlights then, guys, Ben, I'm going to kick off with you. What was your kind of highlight of the weekend?
I think for me, well, one of the things was seeing how quickly people have been able to get paint down onto their models and get them together and stuff like that. So seeing some of the ways that the fleets have been finished on Sunday was fantastic. I think his name is the community member. I'm going to ruin the name, but it's Noisejatat or something. He put together a fantastic UCM fleet that looked amazing, and it looked really nice on the sort of greener planet that we had. But also on Saturday, I think as well, we had the big game, so that was fantastic. So just in controlling the huge space station in the center while everyone was trying to take it down, and there was always shouts and things coming up from everybody as that was going on.
Harbor scenario, wasn't it?
One of John getting a battleship built and painted in 3 hours.
Yeah.
He did that, and it looks fantastic. Same was a Congo.
Nice. Congo,
Yeah, the funny thing is, because he painted it so nicely, game 1 that he took it out, his opponent looked at it and went, "Oh, you've painted that really nicely. It must die."
Of course.
Which is what happens.
But the Pearl Harbor scenario actually worked really well. So let me try and explain this. So we had built that big space station, if you can get a picture of it there, Justin.
Oh, yeah.
One of the features of the space station, and go in and check out the live blog, was that we built loads of kind of docking points across it, where we fitted them with Hawk widgets, which meant that the accompanying fleet that we created to go with it was able to dock actually onto the space station.
And undock as necessary.
And undock, of course. So during that game, the idea was that you had a full fleet docked into that space station that was then surprise attacked. And the rules scenarios, and again, it's all there, go and watch it, how it panned out, was all about how the fleet tried to undock itself in order to be able to go into battle.
Yeah, so here we can see sort of the midpoint of that game where all the other ships are coming in, flying in, trying to blow up the 4 main sections of the space station.
Yeah.
So it was basically a 6v1 fight. 6 boot campers versus me. It was glorious madness. I will say that right now, because things were blowing up left, right, center, and then it was just, yay, win prizes, because Dave actually gave away some of the sector packs.
Yeah.
And then our overall winner actually won themselves a starter fleet, which I thought was really, really cool to do.
Fantastic. So did my space station get blowed up then?
It did. I gave them a hell of a fight. I was taking lumps out of people.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you really, or is it just in your head?
No, because Dave gave me the most destructive weapon he has ever created for Dropfleet Commander.
Oh, what was that?
He created a specific BFG for the space station.
What is BFG, Justin? Is that like a big friendly giant? So you had a specific...
Trust me, this thing wasn't so friendly.
It's a reference probably to the Doom weapon, so yeah.
Yeah, every turn I got
if you want the full name for it, but...
And it was just like, okay, what do I want gone? That's gone, that's gone. Okay, playing on.
Describe it. What did it do?
It was basically like
it
the
blew
biggest,
shit up, is what
biggest,
it did.
nastiest burn-through laser you can imagine. It had like burn-through 12 on it, hitting on a 2+.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to fire it twice. So it was just like...
Twice in the whole game? Or
twice a turn. Twice a turn. The way we actually ran the turns was that everybody would go through their turn sequence, right?
Yeah.
Then I would get to activate everything of mine at the very start of the turn. So stuff would undock, activate, go blow stuff up. But before that, the space
How did you undock the stuff? Were you choosing it, or was it random?
I was rolling. So I would roll a D3
Well, bring up
first.
a picture. Yeah.
All right, so let me find it again. So I would roll a D3, right?
Yep.
And from there... Oh, if I get a better picture, would help. Yes, here we go. So I would roll my D3, right? If I rolled...
Whoa, what's that shiny moon?
That's no moon. That's my hair. No,
Okay.
I would roll D3 first, and that would determine how many battle groups I was getting, right?
Yeah.
So 1 to 2, I got 1. 2 to 3, I got 2. 4 to 5, or 5 and 6, I got 3, right?
Yes.
Then I would roll for the types. That was just a simple D6 roll to determine who had got crewed and was able to launch.
So you can imagine on this space station, all of the crews all running to try and get onto their ships, and all the ships all trying to get their undocking procedures and stuff in place to get
Exactly. But Dave also gave me a rush launch ability.
A rush launch ability.
Yeah, so I would launch under crewed and instantly take 3 points of damage on whatever ship I wanted to launch, because I could go up or down one on the chart for launching stuff.
Oh, that is such a sweet rule.
Exactly.
Did you use it?
No.
Oh,
I was looking at it going, you know what? I just want as much stuff. I want it as tough as possible. Everybody just ignored my fleet and just went, oh, station.
Oh, they were all just going for the station and ignoring the fleet.
Yeah, they ignored my fleet until like turn 2. Whenever I started to actually start killing them with my fleet.
That's probably
they were
why
just
they
like,
won.
wait, those are actually dangerous. Those need to die.
No, the station itself had kind of like 4 cores.
Yeah, at 4 quadrants. So like 4 key systems that they were trying to knock out. And they actually had 32 hull points each.
32?
It needed all of them. And at the start of every turn, it was healing 2d6 hull points for repair crews.
Healing from repair crews?
Yeah.
Did it have any kind of a cascading effect? If they knocked one out, it cascaded?
No.
All right, okay.
Because otherwise it would have blown up on turn 1 because of the amount of fire flying in. If
Seriously,
you imagine,
was there a lot of firepower coming in?
6 starter sets worth of firepower kicking into one location. You know, that's a lot of DACA. That's a lot of death and burny goodness. Yeah?
Love it.
Yeah, it was absolutely fabulous.
Absolutely love it.
My absolute highlight for the entire weekend, if I can quickly find it again here, was one of our guys, Titinius Polinius. I got to play against him, right? Mm-hmm. And you saw what I did with my PHR fleet.
Yes, banana fleet.
Yes.
Yep.
So I played a game
Cover your eyes now.
No, I played a game against him. I beat him. And he said, you know what? Because you beat me, I'm a graffiti one of your ships.
Right.
And he did. He totally did. He made it Pikachu.
Oh, dear me.
And it's funny, because it got that face on it, it became the ultimate target for any other opponent I had that weekend. It was that moment of Pikachu must die.
Yes.
And it was glorious, beautiful, and funny. I loved it.
I've got to say, Justin, looking at it, I feel exactly the same way now. When he primed that fleet, that incredible yellow color, it was just a case of, oh!
And then I did the battleship on Sunday.
And he did. He primed a battleship that color as well.
Yeah.
There's got to be some saving it somewhere. We'll maybe get that as an article in some future issue of Reroll. How the banana fleet was salvaged.
Hang on, the Banana Republic remained undefeated all weekend.
That's because nobody would play it, Justin.
No, they were quite happy to play it.
Well, for me,
yeah.
I just had such a blast watching everybody just take the absolute full goodness out of the weekend. You know, boot camps are an extraordinary thing, I've got to say, because you're taking the experience of a hobby, right, and condensing it into a weekend with experts on hand, with equipment on hand, with the best gaming tables on hand. All of this stuff is just there so that you can have the Carlsberg of gaming experiences. Yeah. And you know, to see just how much people got done, like you, Ben. You know, people were in. They hobbied, you know, they got games, and yet some were still walking out with, you know, pretty full painted fleets at the end of it. And so many were saying how it was lovely to be able to get away and just spend a weekend just
in the hobby space,
fully zoned in to your hobby zone. And I've got to say it was lovely to watch. And the game just held up extraordinarily well. You know, people very quickly got to grips with the basics of the game. They were playing 1,500 odd point games
we had at least 2 or 3 of those
by halfway through the Saturday. We were then able to hack the game with no problem at all to create a Pearl Harbor scenario, as you've described.
And we even got to play the linked game with Drop Zone Commander on the Sunday, which was great fun. That was Rob and Rasmus who were playing against each other. And as we were playing the games out in the main gaming hall, every time we did a strike to one of the ground sectors, it was just, okay, run in, finger of God on that table. Rasmus, where do you want it, mate? Blow that up. I'll try.
Yeah, so the whole idea is that Dropfleet has been created kind of from the ground up to link into Drop Zone Commander. Yeah. So really what you tend to have is a number of Drop Zone Commander tables and maybe 1 or 2 Dropfleet tables. Yeah. And then your fleet are bombarding down on top of your drop zone commander tables, but equally your drop zone commander tables have these, as he refers to them, BFGs, that are firing and like they are big guns, like they are taking out ships.
Yeah, although if you keep an eye on Hawk, 12 Days of Christmas, which is now running, I believe I think it was Wednesday, they actually released the next set of ground asset packs, first image.
Oh, and that's the one with the radar, with the kind of the radar dishes.
There's a radar dish, a power plant, and an even bigger ground cannon.
Awesome
about
stuff.
the size of a regular burn-through laser. It's like, hundreds of feet tall. Huge in game terms.
Other than that, the thing accumulated in, we had prizes to give away.
Yeah.
Okay? We're going to announce some prize winners right now. So, the first thing was, there was the name a space station and name a fleet.
Yes.
Now, they're not prizes, they're just the honor of naming it.
Yes.
And I'm not going to announce a winner today, if that's okay with you guys.
That's fair enough.
Because I haven't finished going through all of the suggestions. So I might announce that either on Christmas morning if I get the chance to finish it. Otherwise, I'll announce it whenever we get back.
Okay.
But I want to run over some of the ones that have kind of leapt out at me so far. Dark Vovoid nominated Asgard. Because it was obvious.
Yes.
It was obvious. You were in charge, so you were the supreme Asgardian for that day.
If we call it that.
Dreadstar wanted to call it Warren's Folly. It was, very much.
No, really, because it turned out epic. It's not a folly.
Dorthonion came up with Archangel's Haven. I really like that.
That seems to fit with the theme of the
because
world.
it means that the fleet could be the Archangels. And I really like the idea of that.
The reason that he went for that one was because of the whole paint scheme that you've gone for with the Force, so it had that sort of white scheme to it. So he was thinking that maybe that could tie in, so you'd have that angelic feeling going on there. You could name some of the ships after some of the angels as well, potentially too. So yeah,
I like that. Imagine the Gabriel, the Michael.
Yeah.
It's and like these angels are proper badass angels. We think angels are fluttery little things. Angels kick ass. If you learn about angels, they seriously kick ass.
Yeah.
So the Archangel's Haven, I've got to say, that's up there at the moment. Thor come up with the Odin. Kind of like that.
See, I would maybe do that for the fleet and actually use that Norse pantheon for actually naming your shit. So you would have the
naming
Thor,
my what? Sorry,
your fleet.
Ships. My ships. Okay, all right, yeah.
No, because then you would have, your Odin battle cruisers, your Thor, battleships or whatever, and just name them after the pantheon. Would be very cool.
One of the things that he was looking at with this one actually as well was that he was going to suggest that the space station was called Odin, and then the rest of the fleet would then be called Gungnir, so it'd be like the name for the whole fleet, as a whole, effectively.
Yeah.
And then you could add some names in there, but that's also because Gungnir was Odin's spear, so effectively when it comes to it, you've got the space station, which is the man himself, and then the fleet is the spear that goes out to space. So yeah.
Maybe. But
I just went to the top of the list again. This is why I'm struggling here.
This is what always happens. Whenever I'm working with Warren on these, we get the short list, and then we get shorter list, and then we get even shorter list.
And things move around. Broken Aquila suggested Neo Olympus. So that's taking that's like New Olympus. So that's taking the Greek side of things, which I thought was pretty cool. And Hengst says, call it the Giant's Causeway.
Nah.
Not sure. Maybe.
If we had done it in like a dark stone theme, it would have fit. Maybe.
If I could think of more names to be able to connect in with it, because other than Finn McCool, I'm not sure what other mythological names could have fitted in with
the
that.
Ulster Cycles, though, for some of the heroic names of our past history.
Fleet names. Do you want to hear some of the suggestions?
Yeah, go.
Andre 77 obviously come up with Nactwolfen.
359.
What is the 359?
I think it's just numbers to make it sound spacey.
It's a sci-fi thing. Yeah.
So like Space 1999, which the whole thing, the color scheme was obviously based on that. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Thor, Gungnir.
Yeah.
I really like this Odin Gungnir thing. Machine God come up with Nostradamus. That's kind of cool, the Nostradamus. It has that Nostromo kind of feel to it a bit, doesn't it? Yeah. DSR Richter came up with Fleet Requital. Fleet Requital.
So the requital bit means sort of like reclaiming, taking back. So it's sort of going back to what the UCM are doing with the Scourge and things like that. So I think that's where he's going with that one. Very cool though. Yeah.
The Stingray P226 came up with Task Force Juno.
Nice.
That has a nice ring to it as well. It has that light sci-fi feel to it, which I think would work quite well. And Dan Lee says the Ghosts of Terra. Ooh. It's very 40k that, isn't it? It is. Somebody also was asking if we could name it after your RPG character, but I said Baculum's probably not a great name for a fleet. So it's Justin's RPG character is Baculum the Terrible. So it's moving on.
I'm gonna make him priest here.
Right, here, Baculum, you can announce the winners, all right? So, first up, what did we have?
Well, let me just remind everybody of what we had overall. So, we had 5 2-player starter sets for Dropfleet Commander to give away.
Yes.
We then had our Mega Bundle, which was a 2-player starter set, a PHR fleet, a Sheltari fleet, a space station set, and one of each battleship. Yes.
Yep.
Battleship, yes.
Yes.
So, let's go through the guys who won the 2-player starter sets first.
Oh, okay. So our losers are
hardly losers when you're getting this.
Of course, yes.
This is a really nice set.
Yeah.
So winner 1 is Pox, Poks.
Well done, Pox. Fill in the claim a prize form for us.
Yep.
Winner 2 is Tuki Y.
Tuki Y.
Tuki Y. Tuki Y.
Oh.
Tuki Y. Yeah. Anyway, you're a winner as well.
Winner 3 is Kara Bus.
Ben, who have we got for 4?
Winner 4 is Sword of Justice. So there you go. Well
You're
done.
a winner as well. And then winner 5 is Big Rim.
No, Big Grim.
Oh, sorry. I'm losing it today.
Okay, but there's 2 G's in here. Come on.
Oh.
All right.
Well done, Big Rim.
No. Mexican. Come on. Ándale.
Okay.
And the winner.
Big Rim meet Baculum.
Okay.
Right, okay.
And our grand prize winner who won the Dropfleet Commander
I can't even
Mega
see
Bundle
anymore. Right.
is Artemis 5150. Congratulations.
Well done, Artemis. Great work, mate. You are receiving the Mega Bundle, which means you are going to become a huge recruiter for the Dropfleet world.
Yes.
So, you and your mates can really get stuck in.
Now, just to remind everybody, if you're wanting to claim a prize, do it on beastsofwar.com from the homepage. There is a drop-down with Contact Us and a Claim a Prize button in the top right corner.
Absolutely. We're going to take a very quick break to tell you about some hubs. When we come back, there's tons of news to talk about, and then we're going to sit down with John Paul Brisigotti to talk about Gale Force 9's Doctor Who board game.
It's time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com. Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsung Hub on beastsofwar.com.
And welcome back. It's time for some news. Okay, guys, take me on a grand whirlwind tour through the week in gaming.
All right, Ben, I'll let you take the first one if you want, mate.
Before that, Ben, on a scale of awesomeness, how awesome has this week been?
It's been pretty awesome. I would say this is a 8 out of 10 awesomeness week, I'd say.
Ooh.
It could be more awesome, but it's pretty awesome already. So.
Okay.
Not enough to worry.
It's time for a mediocre tour through the world of gaming.
A better than average.
A better than average tour, right? Okay.
Wow, we're really up in...
Benno, what have we got?
Okay, so the first thing we're going to be looking at is some stuff for Team Yankee. Now, obviously, we've seen the West Germans already, but we're now going to be turning to see the East Germans coming to Team Yankee in January and February of next year.
Yes,
Nice.
love it. Uh-huh. Now, are these guys mostly just going to be using Soviet hardware that we've already seen, or are they getting new hardware as well?
Well, they're going to get a combination of the two. So we're going to see a lot more stuff for as they're called, the Volksarmee. So we'll have the Panzer companies, we've got the Monschulska companies, and lots more infantry things coming your way. But also, as you say, they're going to get their hands on some Soviet tech as well. So we'll have things like the BRDM-2 recon platoons, the Gaskin SAM platforms, and things like that. So basically, they're taking a lot of the technology from the Soviets, including it in their own army, and then mixing a little bit of German technology in there as well. But it certainly looks like it's going to be a good one. One of the things we haven't seen just yet is any kind of sort of starter force for them, but I'm sure that's going to be the case when the book comes out next year. So,
awesome. Yeah. If you can go back to the image, there's something I'm very curious about, right? Go on down a little bit. Click on that one there.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you see the paving those tanks are on, right? Yeah. It's you get kind of like a cobblestone effect, okay?
Yeah.
Which you could just make out there on. Now, if you scroll down to the guys on the bases, I'm wondering, is there anybody out there doing custom bases for these guys that have proper city cobbles and things like that there? Now, in Europe, okay, you do still find cobbles, but what you would tend to find would be like European arcs, which is probably, in my humble opinion, the most beautiful of all the cobble patterns. Yeah. So it's kind of seashell shaped.
Yeah. So right. Yeah.
Your
so
cobbles are in these overlapping. These overlapping kind of seashells, and for me, it's my favorite of all of the sets or the set patterns. That
I've seen a whole bunch of people try the whole sort of tiling and sort of cobble thing out on larger miniatures in 28mm scale, where they just lay down effectively a bed of green stuff and then sculpt in the detail. So you could probably try and do it that way. Yeah. I mean, the detail might be a little bit too fine when it comes to 15mm guys, but you can certainly look at that route.
The other thing then is you also have in Berlin, I saw it. It almost looked like like flagstones, okay?
Right.
But they look like they were made out of granite. You know, they're like big, proper, heavy duty. So I'm just wondering if anybody has done any kind of custom bases for the Team Yankee stuff that is based on cities and real kind of city and urban kind of areas. Because the rural stuff's great, but we can all do that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be really nice if you could get some custom bases with the various European art cobblestones or the big kind of flagstone granite-y kind of things?
You know, if I was trying to do it, what I would do is, you know the cork you get?
Yeah.
Take that, lay it out to your pattern, you know, cut the shape you want and start laying it out on your pattern on a sheet of paper and then cut it to the shape of the base and then plant that on top. It would be time-consuming, but you might get a really nice effect off it. You know, so actually do the cobbles in cork, just in little slivers that you lay out on a sheet of paper.
Right. I'm going to set myself a challenge. I want over the next weekend, or certainly in the new year, to start experimenting more with the bases and stuff like that there. So I'm going to go and do a little bit of research and see if I can find some cool stuff to play around with on bases. But in the meantime, if you know of anybody that's doing custom bases for Team Yankee, please let us know, because I'm dying to see some cool stuff on that front.
Right. Research. 15mm cobbles.
We have some sci-fi terrain up next. Yeah, Ben?
Yeah, so the sci-fi stuff that we're seeing from Micro Art Studio is sort of two different sets of terrain, really. You've got some stuff for Infinity, which is a really awesome set of wrecked cars. So this is they've done some stuff in the past, which is sort of like the nicer looking cars and things. But now they're taking it to the next step, and this is when the tags have been rampaging through, smashing things up and throwing things all over the place. Grenades have been going off and stuff. So you'll actually be able to set up a little bit of a nicer narrative scenario, I guess you would say. And as well as that, they've also got a set of cargo crates too. So if you're going to be setting up some kind of port district or spaceport, whatever, you can use these as a nice bit of sort of covering terrain and things like that, which is pretty great. On the other side of things, they've got some stuff for those people that maybe like sort of the alien worlds of the grim dark future.
Oh, look at these.
Yeah. So there's some really nice looking Tau, it's called the Tau SETI range anyway. People will be familiar with this, but for those of you who like the Greater Good, for example, this is a really good set of crates and things that you can use for sort of maybe a Tau expansion force that's landed on a planet. The first, starting to set up colonies and things like that.
Yeah.
But as well as that, one of my favorites, and I really love this, it's the Hive Towers.
Yes.
So for all those kind of gribbly alien players out there, because I just love the idea of creating a planet that is just threatening you wherever you are, because these huge teeth and bits and pieces are poking out of the ground. So there could be some strange beast hiding beneath the surface of the planet ready to eat your squad whole, basasically.
I'm looking at these. They are very, very threatening.
I thought you might feel a bit threatened by one of these.
Yeah, more a little bit.
These are called capillary towers, okay, in the Grimdark world.
Yes.
And they're kind of like big. I've always kind of imagined them as almost like. I originally imagined them as almost like termite kind of things. You know, it's do we know any of the lore behind this kind of stuff, Ben? Or am I going to have to grab AJ on this one?
You might need to grab AJ when it comes to the sort of more specifics of it, but I think the idea is that what will happen is that a planet would get seeded with Tyranid spores and things, and this is effectively the planet itself becoming what do they call it? Bioformed?
Yeah.
The word escapes me, but it's terraformed, that's it, but their version of it.
Yeah.
And it sort of gets turned into basically a huge living organism, and so you start to see these kind of things sprouting out of the ground and things like that to sort of help the Hive fleet and things. So
actually, noise as good as any time to plug 40k Charted. The reason being is just to come back to me, myself and AJ, in an episode of 40k Charted, which will be free. The entire year's worth of episodes will be free during the Christmas period, launching on Christmas Eve. Okay, one of those episodes is all about the invasion process of the Tyranids. And the whole process that Tyranids go through to invade a world.
Yeah, well,
and it was fascinating.
It's one of those things. Once a world has been visited by a Tyranid fleet or a splinter fleet, if it's going to survive, there's always those sort of remnants of the Tyranid biomass left over, which actually turn into plant life, animals, and it all evolves towards that one goal of converting the entire planet into just biomass for the Hive fleet to eat. It's the whole thing with gene stealers. They infiltrate. They grow, they bring a fleet in.
Well, that's enough now. Don't spoil the episode. Be sure to come across to beastofwar.com, create yourself a free account, and enjoy 40k Charter. Because I got to say, it's been a highlight of a year for me, was to be able to sit down with AJ. We talk from the very, very start. So we go through the structure of the Imperium. It's really, really narrative 40k Charter. It's all about the narrative of the game. So that you can play better games because you better understand what you're up against and what the story is of what you're up against, as well as what you're playing. I've loved it. It's been an absolute blast. And be sure to read the comments, because anything we missed, guys in the comments were filling in the gaps and sending us off in other directions and stuff, and it was brilliant.
Nice. Although I will say, I do like the cards from this set for Infinity.
Yeah.
Because normally whenever you imagine an Infinity table, I always imagine high sci-fi, nice, beautiful, clean city.
Yes.
Actually seeing it get a little bit down and dirty, and actually seeing some rack stuff out on the table, it kind of sets the mind on the path to going, well, what would a destroyed Infinity City look like? How would I create that on the table?
Do you know what? If you got two of your factions going at it in a city, it wouldn't be very long before it looked like that. I've got to say, with the firepower that's available to you in Infinity these days.
So that could be something cool to experiment with people.
Right, we have the Armored Assault sets for 40k while we're on the topic of 40k. Tell us a bit about those, Ben.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that was sort of put forward by Games Workshop as part of their new social media thing that they've been doing. So they're looking ahead to stuff that's coming out in the new year. This is a whole bunch of sets that will be available in January, the 12 of them in total. And effectively, it's a way of grouping together both the troop units and their dedicated transports or other transport options to allow you to pick them up in effectively the set as a whole. It's rumored that there's going to be a little bit of a sort of discount to it as well. So it might be one of those interesting things where you could maybe pick up 2 of these and a hero. Effectively, you've then got your 2 troops in your HQ plus a couple of vehicles as well getting added to the mix as 2. It's pretty good when it comes to things like the Tyranids, for example, because you get the big, huge creatures there that they've got, just gorging their infantry onto the tabletop. But effectively, it's just one of their sort of new ways to try and make collecting things a little bit easier, which I think is quite fascinating for the game. And it might also point towards a couple of the ways in which the game is aiming to go in the new year when we see potentially a new edition too.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a neat little thing from them, sort of looking at what's ahead. So it boosts up their sort of social media side of things, and it's just something interesting for people who maybe are getting stuck into 40k for the first time. So yeah, you've got to say to the guys at over at Games Workshop,
what they're up to with the market.
or Warhammer, as it likes to be called. You're doing a blinding job, guys. You really are doing a blinding job. I'm really, really pleased to see the directions that they're going. And for anybody, and let's be honest, right? There's plenty of jaded people out there about Games Workshop, and I think every one of us at some point or other over the last few years has kind of went through it, where you for various reasons, and not all of them necessarily that negative. For some it was maybe the release schedule was just so hectic they just couldn't keep up with it. For others, the prices of stuff was maybe getting just beyond their means, and for some maybe it was just the fact that they just felt disconnected from a company that they loved, and and that sense of disconnection left a bit of a void.
Yeah, but it can also be something as simple as people are just wanting to explore a different world and maybe revisit it at another time. Yep.
There's many reasons.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, I have been loving what they've been doing recently. I really have. It's I'd love to see them reach out to the independent media a little bit more. I think that would be really cool, because we would love, we contact them whenever we can to try and see if we can get in to talk to them about what they're doing and whatnot. No luck on that front yet, guys, but we'll keep plugging away. We'll keep plugging away. But I really do want to say a big congratulations to the team over there because the work that you are doing on the social media, on the content and stuff like that in the community is blinding, and I know that it's been no easy task, because take it from people who have been doing it every day as well. We do know that it's no easy task doing what you're doing. I've been watching the Warhammer Live.
Is it good?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
it is good. It is good. The thing is, whenever it was announced, my immediate thought was, oh boy, that's a hell of a task.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Was it 5 days a week, 6 hours a day?
No, it's 3 days a week.
Right.
Works out about 60 hours a month. Okay, so about 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
So it's like a 6-hour stream or something on a Wednesday, a Thursday, and a Friday.
Right.
Okay. Now I immediately, because we have some experience of all of this, looked at it and went, "Ooh, that's going to be hard."
It's a lot of air to fill.
Well, it's a lot of air to fill, and we know from our own experience of live that live's tricky business, okay? Because live doesn't necessarily make things easier. It takes a lot of the work that you normally have to do and front loads it.
Yeah.
Okay. So pre-recorded shows and things like that, you get a fair amount of post-production time to fill in mistakes, to do production.
Yeah. Add additional assets. Make it pretty. Fix any lighting or audio issues you're having.
Live. All that work that can be done at the end kind of needs to be done at the start.
Before you even go live.
Yeah, and that's even before you go live. Then I was watching the live stream, and they've got the 2 players. I'm kind of counting this up based on what I can see. They've got the 2 players. They've got 2 commentators. They've got at least 2 camera people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are the camera angles changing a lot?
Yeah, because I was watching them zooming in and out. So they either got 2 camera people, or they have a camera monkey that is the most agile person I've ever met, who's able to somersault over from one camera to the other and zoom them all in.
Yeah. I must give it a look then.
As well as that, you probably have somebody switching it.
Yeah.
So somebody has to do the switching and the control.
What, 5 people so
the
far?
Control area.
No, more than that.
No, 2, 4, 6, 7,
8-ish people.
7. And so there's 7 people already dedicated to that for the whole day.
And that's not including anyone that's had to do prep work beforehand.
Well, there you have all your researchers. Now, it's maybe less so on the Wednesday and the Friday, because they're just broadcasting games. But still, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort. So they deserve support for that. And we were watching it and going, Nicely done, guys.
Yeah,
and for their first stream, I'm really interested to see where they go.
It's one thing that makes me nervous, though, streaming a game live.
Yeah.
Let's say you have pissed off the dice gods and you get the worst rolls in history, and your game only lasts, say, half an hour. You get tabled in turn 2.
Yeah.
What do you do then? Do you just reset and go again?
Play another game. you have them all stacked up, your players, like aircraft, and they're circling in Bugmans, getting pissed. And then when you're ready, you call them in and you say, "You're ready. You steady up there, boy," and then you go. I would love to do it here. As many of you may remember, we used to do a show live way back in 2010, 2011. We had Turn 8 Live, which was our live chat show. So it was basically this show, but live.
Yes.
And we weren't able to do it for a long time because we didn't have the bandwidth. After the whole move to England, we didn't have the bandwidth. When we moved back, we initially didn't have the bandwidth. We
had Weekender by that stage, which really nicely fills that void.
Yeah, and we had the Weekender. Now we kind of had the bandwidth, so it's just to keep you up to date. You Centurions have been amazing. The Centurions thing was a cry for help from Beasts of War. We wanted to fire up another studio so that we could run 2 studios independently of each other. I don't mean 2 different locations. I mean 2 studios within the River House here where we're based. So we have this program called the Centurion program. And it's people who sign up for an annual Backstage pass.
Yes.
Backstage, obviously, if you've never heard of it, I've went on about it long enough, but the Backstage is kind of the lifeblood of Beasts of War. It's you individuals who have signed up to a little monthly fee to help keep the whole Beasts of War thing running. It's you guys that unlock our capacity to get new equipment, to be able to have a studio, to be able to basically produce the content that we produce. So remember, anything that you watch that we put out for free has been paid for and funded by that group, that hardcore group of Backstagers who have come across and pay, as a very small amount, £3.79 per month. And that feeds the beast. That is what we need to be able to keep going on a daily basis. We had another program, which was the Centurion program, and it was a call out for people to say, look, we want to get these 2 studios up and running. We need more equipment to be able to do that. So we needed more cameras. We needed more editing capacity and stuff like that. So the Centurions have been coming on board, and that has actually started to unlock for us. So we have actually started to put new equipment in place.
Yes.
We need more. So if you've never joined Beasts of War, please consider coming across to beastsofwar.com and signing up either as a monthly Backstager, or if you could find it for Christmas. Look at his little face. For Christmas, to sign up as an annual member, as one of the Centurions, as one of the folk who are coming in to really kind of unbind us and allow us to do and explore more and more options.
There is one key thing for the people that do jump in and join Backstage, though. They do get a lot back for that. They get first bite at the boot camps. They get tons of paint tutorials, hobby labs, an XLBS tomorrow, which is another version of this show, which everybody can sit down Sunday morning, chill out in your bed with your tablet and just watch us.
Yeah, it's not an extended version of this show. It's a whole new, more relaxed, more edgy kind of weekend behind the scenes. So it's and Backstage is very much that. It is Backstage. Yeah. Do you know we have nearly 1,000 pieces of content in Backstage?
Really?
We have the guts of 500 tutorials in Backstage. You know, it's there is an awful lot that you could sit and get lost in just by browsing through Backstage. And of course, Backstage members also get Reroll, which is the Beasts of War digital magazine. So if you come across Reroll issue 4 is on the website at the moment, and I believe we haven't changed it yet. So if you hop in, you could also download issue 3, issue 2, and issue 1. We're planning on spinning them out onto a little separate site somewhere, because we're only going to make the magazines available for the 30 days. But if you're in quick, you can get all 4 issues. Yeah. But look. What it has unlocked for us is in the last few weeks, we have started to fire up not only this studio, but the Cage. Yes. The Cage is the kind of the gaming arena here in Beasts of War. Let's see if we can get a picture of the Cage up. And what we were able to do is, in a reasonably good way, we've been able to fire up both of these studios with their full editing and broadcasting capabilities to go on to Twitch.
Yes.
So we are unlocking the live potential from a hardware perspective at the moment.
Yes.
So who knows? In the new year, we may well experiment with some new live participation kind of things to see how it goes. We're still working out what the benefits of it all are.
Yeah, and
because
have
live
to do all
is
the experimental stuff.
Yeah, live is awkward because you have to be there, don't you? You have to be available to truly get the best of it.
Yes, but you also have to be careful because things can slip out when you're live. You know, you don't have that buffer. I'm looking at you, yes.
Oh, me?
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
I have never slipped anything out live. No, you on the other hand.
Last week we sent stuff out. I caught you 4 times.
I never slipped. You can keep your capillary tower hidden, boy. Right. Anyway, live stuff we're going to experiment with next year. So please, on the comments here on beastofwar.com or here on YouTube if you're watching that, if you have things that you'd like to see live or you'd like to participate in, maybe you'd like us to take the Weekender live. Maybe we resurrect Turn 8.
Possibly.
Maybe we do live gaming. Maybe we do live painting. Let's see if there's things that you would like to do or like us to experiment with. We are quite happy to run some experiments next year and see what we can do live. But it's all about the participation. It's about getting you guys involved in the live. And just to finish off, seriously though, it would be a massive, massive thank you from us if you would consider this Christmas adopting a Beast of War and joining Backstage, because it makes a hell of a difference to keeping the whole operation up and running.
The one other thing for that we forgot to mention is that if you really want to make someone's Christmas this year, you can actually donate a Backstage pass as well.
You can. We have a button where if you have spare cash and you fancy donating it, you can donate Backstage passes. You can either then contact us to let us know the username of somebody you'd like to donate it to, or if you don't, then if somebody, sometimes youngsters get in contact that just don't have the means or the ability to pay for a Backstage pass, and what we'll do is we'll slip them some Backstage passes.
Yes, exactly. We'll give them access to it because it means they can get deeper into the hobby, and as they grow up, you know, maybe they'll pay it forward as well.
Yes, pay it forward. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, to finish all that off, well done, Games Workshop. Keep it up. Keep it up. And we will too. Especially him, because he likes to let it slip out. Right. Finally, Doctor Who.
Yes.
Dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum dum da 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 dum dum. Okay, right. Okay.
Here we go.
This game absolutely looks fabulous.
Yep.
The box is nice, but it's not the box that has completely sold me. Look at this! Look at it, Ben.
Is it just me, or does each person have their own TARDIS?
Yes.
They do. Yep.
Right. I don't want to spoil this too much because we do have John Paul Brisigotti who's going to take us through this. But in this game, Justin, right? Each of us plays a different Doctor, and we're all trying to get to Gallifrey. It's us against the Daleks. It's a beautifully constructed game. Just look at that, Justin. Imagine having that on your tabletop.
That's nice. Also,
you know, even if you're not into Doctor Who, which I've got to say, I love Doctor Who, but I wouldn't say I'm a Whovian by any stretch of the imagination. But it's got Tom Baker in it. Yep. And it's got Daleks in it.
Well, it's got David Tennant, who was my favorite Doctor so far. You know, simple as that.
It's got Tom Baker in it, and it's got Daleks in it.
Ben, favorite Doctor, who was it?
Oh, I kind of like David Tennant. I think he's pretty awesome.
Outnumbered.
Yeah.
It's got Tom Baker in it, and it's got Daleks in it. It is therefore a giant box of sex. It must be bought. It must be bought day one. Just bring up the picture once more before we go to John Paul.
Here's the actual layout of the table.
Just look at it.
Yeah.
It was such a beautiful, beautiful looking game. You know,
and it has a timey-wimey deck.
It does have a timey-wimey deck. Nice. But the thing about it is, right, sometimes a board game just looks beautiful.
Yeah.
The gameplay and stuff is very, very interesting on this, but sometimes, a board game would just stop you in your tracks, and you look at it and go, "That is a beautiful looking game."
Yeah.
That is what that is for me. Right.
It's the thing that Gale Force 9 have become incredibly good at recently is transferring the feel and flavour of a TV show onto a board game for the tabletop.
Right. We're going to tell you about some hubs. After the break, we have John Paul Brisigotti on the show to tell us all about the Doctor Who game. We'll be right back.
In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your Megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastsofwar.com. Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com.
So this is one I've been waiting for a while. We had heard in the grapevine a little while ago that you guys had secured like worldwide rights to Doctor Who. We've been rubbing our hands ever since because the great thing about this, and this is John Paul Brisigotti, by the way, but the great thing about this is, I'm going to get straight into it, I can't think of a decent or a really good or a proper Doctor Who board game. I can think of things like Doctor Who, the DVD board game and stuff like that there, but to have something that is a proper full-on board game experience, I can't think of one until now.
No, I mean, it is one of those categories where despite 50 years of Doctor Who, it's never quite had that treatment, and I don't think anybody knows quite why, but definitely one of the things when we went out to talk to them about it and say we want to make a really rich hobby game, and very fortunate that the principal that we deal with in America is a gamer, and so he understood straight away with we want to give it that full treatment and really go into it, and yeah, we've been working on it now 6 months, so it's almost finished.
So first question has to be, describe the game. What are we going to be playing?
You're going to be playing Time of the Daleks. Daleks are trying to erase the Doctor from history. You are going to be playing, you, 2, 3, up to 6 of you will be each playing a Doctor. You will be running around the universe, flying, depending on on your dice rolling. You'll be running around the universe trying to thwart the Daleks and their plans by achieving dilemmas and saving planets. And as you fail, or the Daleks catch you up, they will be trying to get in the way. So collectively and individually, you will be playing as a group. But the Doctor's personalities mean cooperate. It's not fully cooperative because their egos are a bit too big for that. But at times you have to play nice with each other because you are winning or losing as a group. So if the Daleks win, all the Doctors have lost. If the Doctors win, one of you will have got to Gallifrey first, and that will be great, but you won't be the only winning Doctor. It's you are two sides, but there's always a Doctor that got there first.
This is one of the things that I love about the prospect of this particular game, and I can only think it really could have worked with Doctor Who was the idea that all the Doctors
all being there
at the same time at different points of space and time. It just sounds like chaos. There's so much opportunity for interesting anomalies and things to happen.
When you sit down at the very beginning and you say, we'd like to make a game based on this property, you don't make a game. You make a list of all the games that we could imagine that would fit with Doctor Who, from Dalek games to this. But we kept coming back to the first game has to be the one where Doctors are the key. You're all playing Doctors. And Andrew Hort, who's been the principal writer on this in New Zealand, very quickly, he's a huge Whovian from a young boy to he's slightly younger boy now, but older boy now. But as a Whovian, the team there really understood what we needed to get in, and this whole thing of being able to play Doctors meant that the plan always had, you're going to play all the Doctors, we're going to make all 12 Doctors, 12 TARDISes, 12 sets of companions and timey-wimey cards and plots and dilemmas that all link to each Doctor, so that the Doctor being involved in the game means the episodes that they were in, things they were, Tom Baker and his jelly babies, he's got his scarf, Capaldi and his chalkboard, everything from the game gets added. Now, the principal game comes with 6 Doctors. You get 1, 4, 5. So Hartnell, Baker, Davidson, 10, 11, and 12. So Tennant, Smith, and Capaldi. And so all the companions and timey-wimey cards, which are your equipment / abilities, relate to those 6 Doctors, as do the planets and the dilemmas. As new Doctors are added, you will get the companions for that Doctor and the equivalent, the umbrella for Doctor thing, the shirt with the question marks, companions with bazookas, companions with a rucksack, the pieces that feel and part of that.
So there's an ongoing support plan for the game with all the additional Doctors coming out, and you can add them in. Now, does that mean that if we have a team of 6 players, that we pick our 6 Doctors and that's it, or do other Doctors end up coming in and out of the game?
You'll pick your 6 to start with, but part of the mechanic is also that you can regenerate during the game. So in the core game where you've got the 6, the regeneration cycle will be the next one in the cycle. So Capaldi at the end bounces back to 1, 1 will become 4, and so on. But as your set of models / TARDIS and cards change, you'll be able to drop in number 2 or 3, because by the time we're done, all 13 actually will be done.
All 13?
There is a. Well, he's not a. There are 12 Doctors, and the War Doctor is the War Doctor.
Yeah.
So yes, he's a wonderful loop out of time.
Now each player gets a Doctor, but they also get a TARDIS. Yes.
Yep. You get a TARDIS console.
So, what does the TARDIS do versus what does the Doctor do? What's the...
Your TARDIS is it works like a ship in Firefly, or your house card in Sons of Anarchy. This is where all your pieces in the game will rest. It allows you to put your timey-wimey cards, which are equipment-based things, onto your TARDIS. So, as I said, coat rack, scarf, jelly babies, things that help you during the game. It allows you to put your companions, of which you can have up to 3. You'll have your Doctor, and it's a place to keep track of your dice pool and your sonic token charges, which your sonic token goes up and down in charging. But each one of those is themed to the Doctor, so the TARDIS relates to the Doctor. So you pick Doctor 1, you get his TARDIS, his sonic tokens, you start with his companion.
It's so good.
And each of the Doctors is themed in that they have specific ways of doing things as well, don't they? So that they generate their own dice pools, which is the main mechanic in this, isn't it?
Yes. There's a bit of variance between... so that the Doctors, you couldn't say, Doctor 1's better than 12, but Doctor 1's got some rules that fit with the mythos of Doctor 1 as opposed to, rock and roll Capaldi. So there are some Doctors that are more thinkers, and it's manipulating a dice pool that is about action or running or thinking. And so that's the variance, but fundamentally a Doctor is a Doctor.
And it's the combination of your Doctor, your companions, and your equipment that give you the ability to manipulate that particular
and solve
dice
the dilemmas
pool.
and stuff.
Yes.
And then you can specialize to become more specialist at a particular type of dice pool. So as you're traveling around the planets looking for these dilemmas, you're kind of trying to pick the dilemmas that might play to your strength.
Absolutely. No, absolutely you are. The core mechanic in the game is that the symbols on dice represent your ability to achieve something. And dilemmas have a series of symbols that you must roll in order to pass or fail. Failure is Daleks appearing, the timeline's being unraveled, you are clearly about to be wiped. Success is you're thwarting the Daleks and you're getting bonus companions, or you're moving on the tracker further ahead of the Daleks in your little TARDIS.
On your way to Gallifrey.
On their way to Gallifrey. So the first Doctor to Gallifrey, you've won, you've stopped being erased from time. The Daleks can actually win 2 ways. Their mothership that's chasing you on the board tracker, so you all each have a little TARDIS that's going round the board. The TARDIS, the Dalek ship is chasing you, but each time you fail, a Dalek is appearing on the board too, until you get to Davros, who's Dalek number 6 in the set, and when Davros appears, you've lost already. They've already taken over the universe. They've messed with your timeline so much. You're well and truly gone.
Yeah.
So to get a general idea of it, I've arrived on a planet. That planet,
or maybe not, depending on how your dice rolling went.
Of course, yeah.
Because you're rolling the TARDIS dice.
The TARDIS may know better.
The TARDIS may decide.
But I'm there on that planet. I have 2 dilemmas. They're face down. I can see the beginnings of the dice pool that I need to achieve. One side looks more achievable based on what I can see.
Yep.
I'll go, I'll go for that side. You then flip the card over and you can see the rest, and you go, oh!
Yep, absolutely.
And then at that point, then I'm looking at my TARDIS. I can see my companions. I can see my equipment. I can see what I'm capable of. If it's not going to work, I'm going to have to call upon another doctor to try and help. What happens at that point?
Your doctors can give you help 2 ways. When you look at the board, planets are a circle with a couple of curves, and there's a past and a future, so that they represent 2 episodes in the show. And the dilemma cards are drawn from another pile, and they represent more storyline from a show, but they're not necessarily linked. So you might well go to a planet and then flick over what would have been content from another. And as you said, oh my God, it's come out, and I now need 5, 3 of this symbol and 2 and 2 and 2. A doctor can give you help from afar, and that allows them to help adjust one of your dice using their skill tree, their pool. They can manipulate one of your dice. That's a useful thing. They don't take any risk. I'm not coming to the planet, but if you succeed, I'm going to get an extra timey-wimey card. The sneaky bit is that when you ask for help and you say, look, Warren, I need you. I can see you can manipulate that 1 blue dice to the symbol I need. Will you do that? You then, as the doctor, gets to choose whether you help from afar, or say, actually, I'm going to come to your location, which is helping close. Now, we're splitting the dice pool between us. The maximum's 8. The principal doctor gets to keep 5, you keep 3, but the rewards are doubled and the failures doubled. So I come to you because it says, I'm going to move 2 more on the tracker than you. I'm going to get some extra points. So you have to be careful which doctor you ask for help from, because you might find that you'll succeed and then he'll rush past you on we're not really competing, but we are.
Yeah.
and so the thing of looking at, as your companions and your equipment builds up, you will be better at certain types of dilemmas, and you absolutely will be looking for the ones that you can achieve, because success is what it's about, because failure is just Daleks and badness. So you want to be trying to fail as few times as possible.
And what about planets then? Do planets, as the game continues, do planets continue to arrive, or is there a limit to the number of planets?
No, the board is actually fluid. So instead of playing on a fixed surface, much more like Sons of Anarchy, where a place was a card, a planet is a location. So we'll all sit around a board with our TARDISes, and then the main tracker in the middle is Earth, and that's got our tracker and some locations. But as planets come out, you'll go to either past or future. You'll do the dilemma, and when the doctor leaves, the planet disappears and another planet will come out. So at any one time, there'll be 5 or 6 planets out. Sometimes a doctor might go to the other side because it's 2 separate locations. So a doctor can be on 2 different doctors can be on 2 different sides. Because they are 2 separate locations. The planet disappears when any doctor leaves and there's no one else there. The exception being a Dalek. If a Dalek's turned up, that planet's kind of locked.
Basically sat there, isn't it?
It's sat there, but you'd probably just leave it alone, because the Dalek's making it harder in that location for you to succeed.
Because the Daleks take away a dice from the pool?
Takes away from a dice from the pool.
Is it possible to remove a Dalek from a planet?
It is. There are certain locations that allow you to either remove a Dalek from a planet or make the Dalek ship go back on the tracker, which, when things are going horribly wrong, is where you'll all have to try and visit.
All pushing to try and make that happen,
But because the scaling of when things go bad, they can go bad really quick. When 2 doctors are together and the penalties, the Dalek ship moves 2 doctors mean it moves 4, it's racing down the path really quick.
It's...
the Daleks are sneaky. Despite the...
Well, When is it due? When and where can we find out more about it?
It's due between Easter. It's in Q2 next year, so probably May at the moment. We've just finished design on the miniatures because you're going to get 30 mil Doctors and Daleks and Davros in the game. The information's coming as we're getting it now. We're in that final stage of approvals with the BBC, so as they say, yep, you're good to show the world, we'll start showing more and more. And then gameplay and actual components will be in our hands early next year. So we'll get to have a proper game and sit around and see how we go.
Fantastic.
I can hear the theme tune in the back of my head.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, John Paul, look, thank you so much for coming in and tell us about it. Guys,
my pleasure.
Keep an eye out for this one because it does sound absolutely fabulous. Back over to the studio. Hi guys, welcome back. Massive thank you to John Paul Brisigotti for calling in with us. That game.
Yeah, although I think somehow by the magic of TV, Ben suddenly appeared in Ireland.
Yes, it was great to have you here, Ben.
I did. I used some timey-wimey stuff to get over there.
I've got to say, on my wish list of board games, that and Star Trek.
Ascendancy. Yeah.
You know, Star Trek because I can totally see an 8x4 table and all the lads of Beasts of War creating this huge exploration of the 4X, okay? And then on this one, the Doctor Who one, it's such a beautiful game.
Yeah.
The design has just sold me on it. I just have to have that one. On the topic of beautiful games.
Yes.
On our Kickstarters, this one, I know a lot of people have kind of known this has been coming for a while, but I've got to say it kind of flew under my radar a little bit.
Okay.
And then recently I then sat down to explore it and have been utterly blown away by this. This is, of course, The Other Side by Wyrd. So this is the new Malifaux. So Malifaux takes place... I'm no expert in Malifaux. You guys will be able to fill me in on this.
I know a little bit.
Right.
I know a little
bit. So
Malifaux
takes place in this world, okay? The Other Side is literally the other side.
Yeah, it's another dimension.
It's in our world. It's in human world. And now there's kind of been this kind of a rift between the two, and bits are spilling into each. Ben, tell us about the Other Side and what they're trying to achieve.
Okay, yeah. So this is their new sort of experience in sort of the same world as you mentioned there, but this one's sort of upscaling things, so it changes from effectively a skirmish game into a little bit more of a battle game, as it were. Yep. So here, what we've got is 4 different factions that have been put together to go into this world. We've got the King's Empire, which have got a lot of guns and awesome things like that. We have Abyssinia, who are sort of the tribal warriors, who've got sort of a lot more of the sort of folklore behind them and things. Yep. We have the Gibbering Hordes, which are absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure they're going to be your favorite because they're all sea monsters. And then we have the Cult of the Burning Man, who are all the crazy people who with wild, strange cultist activities going on in the background and everything.
Let's have a look at them each in turn, okay? So I think that these guys at the bottom that we're looking at are the Gibbering Horde.
No, these are the Cult of the Burning Man.
These are the Cult of the Burning Man
on the box.
Oh, right, yes, so they are. I think these guys are awesome. I really love some of the sculpts that they've done for this, because it's just if you look at the stalking portals, Ben, with that, they're just madness. They're just absolute madness. So
it's one of those things that I think the Cult of the Burning Man is effectively that faction for people who really love the aesthetic of Malifaux and want to continue seeing that happen in the Other Side as well. So you go for these guys who have got lots of demons and strange warped creatures and stuff going on. And obviously they are just mad as hatters as well. So they're very, very cool, these guys.
Now, if we scroll up a bit, we do get to, Ben was absolutely right, my favorite. The Gibbering Hordes. Justin, just
bugs
look
everywhere.
At
How about no?
Oh, mate.
Not for me.
I love these. Firstly, I think the Storm Siren is absolutely beautiful. Look at the wave.
Yeah.
The splash. It's just so lovely, right? And then you have the stripped skulkers. They're like little kind of lizard kind of dudes. I think that they're great.
They look small. They look angry. They look ready to take the ankles off you.
And then after that, it's the Karkinoi. I'm assuming that's how to pronounce that. Now,
Yep.
these guys look like earwigs from the pits of hell.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm just absolutely enamored with this. Look at them.
Yeah.
Just look at them.
Yeah. Are these coming out in plastics, Ben?
All of these models,
Love 'em.
interestingly, this will be a pretty big thing for anyone who's interested in getting into this game. They're all going to be 32mm PVC, so they're all effectively plastics, yes, but they're all single-piece models, all pre-assembled
Yeah,
as
so
well.
no assembly with this.
Okay, now
Yeah.
that I like.
That'll be kind of cool, won't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Sorry,
the way
these
that it
give me
works in
heebie-jeebies.
terms of gameplay, we'll just step into that for a little bit, is that you have these creatures who come on their smaller bases and then they're plugged into larger, effectively squad bases. And then usually they make up a mix of 3, maybe 2 sets of 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it sort of works on like a larger sort of squad-based scale. But as I say there as well, they're all Malifaux level sculpts that you've seen before, but they're all pre-assembled and ready to go straight out of the box, effectively.
Nice detail.
So
nice
yeah.
detail.
Now, here we have the Abyssinia, and I've got to say, I am going to take personally great pleasure in crushing these guys with my earwigs of hell. I'm serious now, because they look like a bunch of Ponzi gits. And I am going to...
They look like tribal badasses.
I am going to eat them up. I cannot wait to get into this game, because the earwigs of hell, right? Oh, I'm just thinking of the color schemes. Simple color schemes are going to work so effectively on them.
Yeah.
And if any of you guys feel either these guys, right, or these kind of Ponzi gets here,
this is the one for
King's
me.
Empire. Oh, of course
The
it
King's
is.
Empire is the one for me. Quite simply, guns everywhere. Look at the sort of bandito-looking guys down the bottom with all the big cowboy hats and Mexican-style hats. Perfect. This is exactly what I love to paint. Lots of cloth work, lots of leather, guns to paint up. Fantastic.
My bugs are going to eat your Ponzi ass.
You
with
have
this.
to get here first. There's going to be a wall of flying lead.
There will be a wall of flying nippers and tentacles coming your way. Ben, which one's
both
yours?
you guys seem to have gone for the King's Empire and the Gibbering Hordes. If you go back towards the top of the page, you'll see both of your Titans, which are the large, huge creatures that get added to both of these. The King's Empire have the King's Hand, which is absolutely amazing.
Oh, look at that
And then
big
you've got the
robot.
Alpha Crawler, as you see there, for the Gibbering Hordes, who is absolutely despicable.
Yeah, are they on the top of that Alpha Crawler? Are they 28mm minis standing on his back?
They are. They're 32mm scale miniatures standing on the back of a huge giant.
Oh my god!
That's going to be like huge.
Yeah, if you check out the gameplay trailer that is listed further towards the bottom of the page,
let's scroll
they
down.
actually
Let's
show
see
off
this.
how these guys look in comparison to the other creatures and stuff,
Right,
and they are
splendid.
pretty big. So yeah.
So where are we going here?
Keep going. Let's see
Price
what else.
levels.
Right,
Oh,
up. Your Allegiance Titan. So here we see some pictures of some of the other Titans. Look at the gory shike.
Yeah. The Dreadnought's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Oh
Oh, I do
my
have this
word.
robotic voice in my head now for the King's Hand one, just going Hail Britannia.
Yeah. So can we have a look? So let's see if we can get past this and have a look at some of the stretch goals.
So-
How have they been doing? Because they are well funded now. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've perfectly gone through all
There
of
we
their all of their funding sort of targets they were looking for, but they're now moving on towards stretch goals where they've now got a hardcover rulebook up unlocked. They've got individual Fate deck add-ons added to this as well, and they've also got some stack cards that are going to be available free online, which is pretty awesome for people who want to try and work out how the game plays ahead of time.
Yep.
They have actually shown off quite a few of the cards in some of their videos as well. If anyone's very familiar with Malifaux and the way that works, effectively a lot of the mechanics from that have carried over. So it's all card based, no dice. It has the cheating fate mechanic in there as well, so if things aren't going too well for you, you can cheat your cards in from your hand to continue to try and defend attacks or get better attacks and things like that. And the way that it works in terms of sort of brackets of effectiveness is in there too, so the bigger your hit, the more damage you're going to do as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right, so there are gameplay videos and things like that on the Kickstarter page.
Yes.
So if you're interested, I was watching the Kickstarter video.
Here we go.
Okay. We've just got to the painted models bit, Ben.
Right,
okay,
yeah.
let's go down a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Do you know it has that V for Vendetta feel off those guys, doesn't it? It really
Definitely.
does. Now look,
little cripply guys.
this is it. That's the color scheme I'm talking about.
That's how they plug in together on a bigger base.
Yes.
That's clever.
Yep.
And the thing about this is this is totally doing my whole Tyranid thing. Everybody that knows me knows that I've just got a deep, deep love of all things kind of bug. I'm a Starship Troopers man. Is that a Sharkarosaurus? Hang on.
Yep.
That is. Will I hit
Look
play?
at
Will I
that.
hit play here?
Yeah, go on, hit play. Do we see what it is? Okay, so. Okay, come on.
I think it's a 360 possibly.
I hope so. Oh.
Nice.
Oh,
Concept stuff.
that's a nice looking model, I've got to say.
Yeah.
So we're just looking at
all the
frenzy.
paintings done by Den of Imagination, if anyone's interested in who's done all this, because I think they're going to be doing all the studio work for these guys, looking ahead to when we actually see more of the models hit the table as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, skip forward there a bit, Justin. Do we see what else?
Yeah, I think it
going.
is literally just turning the model around
Yeah.
and getting a little look at it and how it looks and how big it is in a
Which
human
faction gets that shark man? Please tell me it's my faction.
You do, the gibbering hordes.
Oh!
hand. Happy days.
This is it! This is totally it! I'm done! I got it! They've ticked every box! I get bugs and sharks in the one faction!
Sold!
I think I'm gonna cry. I think I'm going to cry.
Let's take one more look at it here. There's your bases, right? So
Yes.
You've got your 30mm plug base and then your 80mm base that everyone's plugging into.
Yeah.
I will put one of the interesting things that's came through in the way that this works is that it's all done on going a little bit back to rules. Sorry for a second, but you've got the different commanders, and the amount of commanders you take determines the size of the game. So one commander is a small game, two is a sort of reasonably sized game, etc. Maybe 45 models in total. But one of the things that came across in all the gameplay videos is that everything dies very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's all based on really brutal, cutthroat gameplay, because all these the characters that you've seen there, like and things, they only effectively have one wound in respect. So if they get hit and they have no one to support them, they're dead. So you have to really, really play around how your characters are, involved in certain fights and things. So it's a lot more brutal than, say, for example, the World of Malifaux. And it takes things to a whole new level. So yeah.
Oh well, I can't wait. I am absolutely sold. And on that note, I don't think this episode could get any better for me. We are done. Guys, look, thank you so much for joining us. Look, like we said, we will be back on Christmas morning, all been well, to wish our backstagers and stuff a very happy Christmas and to spend a little bit of time with you on Christmas, sharing some old war stories. Remember that tomorrow we have the XLBS. That's the extra long backstage weekender. It's a whole brand new weekender. We've got, it's a little bit more edgy. It's very much a bit behind the scenes. So if you're interested, please do come across. Become a Centurion for Christmas. And flex your muscles.
Can I throw out one last little reminder for everybody?
By all means.
There's a campaign that we looked at on the last Weekender show we did. The guys from Kraken doing their scatter terrain.
Yes.
That is ending this weekend. So,
right.
I don't have anything up for it, but if you guys are wanting to get in on that, you saw it last weekend, your last chance is now coming up, all right?
Okay. Right, well, hopefully we'll get some pictures and stuff like that thrown up during that so as you can see what they're doing scattered terrain-wise.
Yeah.
Ben, Justin, thank you so much for spending this morning with me. Guys, thank you so much for spending this morning with us. And hopefully we'll see a load of you on Backstage tomorrow morning, bright and early. Right. Have a great week of gaming.
From Viking halls to the cities of the future, terrain buffs will love our foreground hub. Watch gaming tables of all genres come to life at beastsofwar.com. Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com.